Hello, hello. I just told Paul that if I don't make a video every day for 10 minutes or 50 minutes, I will feel stuck because I need to make a missionary video because I'm a missionary of love. So I am preaching my gospel of love, if you want to call it. I don't like the word gospel. It's gospel. It sounds like gossip, I think. A gossip blues. Baby, baby. Okay, I feel okay right now, even though I had a negative conversation with my life partner, companion, friend, best friend. Because he gets mad at everything. So my mission of love is very, very, very simple. I just want people to love. That's all. It couldn't be any more simplistic than that. Love is the key word. I've seen that sticker. There's an Indian religion in LA that we used to go there and buy their dinner sometimes, and they're selling stickers, and it says something like love. Okay, that was the sticker. Love is the answer. It's a sticker on a car. We don't do any sticker thing on cars because I know that some people get very upset at stickers, and I have a friend in LA who from Sweden, and she had a lot of stickers on her car, some of them politically provocative, but only for Republicans, of course. And Republicans saw it and cut her tires. So when I heard that, I decided no stickers, no matter how good the cause of the sticker is. Or matter of fact, you can say it like this: the better the cause of the sticker, the more likely you will have your tires cut. So we decided we keep it neutral, totally neutral. That's the best. And even with the Prius, which was already very risky in the area where we live, back in like 10 years ago, people were harassed who were driving Priuses. But now even Republicans are catching on buying Priuses because the Prius saves people money. And it's just like what Dr. Kurzweil said in his books and in his articles and in his interviews. He says it again and again. He's very optimistic with this because things will work themselves out eventually on their own. And there's no need for a struggle, for an ego type of combat between people, because, and I'm guilty of it myself, I've done a lot of ego combating with people in the past, and it's kind of like running my head against a cement wall where you see you just can't make any progress whatsoever with that. So it just ends up in a broken heart or broken head or broken nervous system, and it just doesn't get us anywhere. So what the only way that gets us further is if we promote a good cause, if we buy an electric car, if we recycle, if we do composting, if we are good to planet Earth, if we don't use pesticides and chemicals or hair bleach or Clorox or chlorine or ammonia or any kind of harsh glues or solvents, any of that stuff. No cockroach motels, no pesticides of any form, no ant killers, no worm killers, no killers anymore, no more murderers, okay? So if we do it that way, we will be on the right track. And I encourage everybody to do this. So Dr. Kurzweil is very optimistic. He knows things will work themselves out because of economic reasons, because everything dwindles down to economic incentives in the end. So the only thing, that's why Hillary Clinton was so, she was so hopeful in 2007 that if she was president, she could install incentives that are so positive that will make people motivated to recycle and to compost and to drive electric cars and to completely reform their manufacturing factories or manufacturing institutions of some sort and make it green and clean. And Bill Clinton has already done a lot. Then it was all reversed by the Bush administration and the Obama administration, and so Hillary Clinton is now going to campaign again, and I encourage every single person to vote for her. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are liberal or conservative, it does not matter, or in the middle or beyond. Hillary Clinton is the only person right now who has the chance to win, who has the chance to win against someone like Barack Obama, who has an incredible voter base. She's the only one who has that chance because she is very known. They have done excellent work during their administration. She has done a lot of helping when Bill Clinton was president. They worked hand in hand, they worked together because they're like two brains that work as one. And also Al Gore, of course. These three people together, they were like three super brains working together. It's like having like a mastermind government, you know. And it showed, but it is pushed under the rug by the media, you know, all the goodies they have done to us. It is concealed from the public, and particularly from the Republican Party. They try to bash them wherever they can with ridiculous things because they don't have any valid arguments at all. They play out religion, they play the religion vehicle on this, even though none of these people have done anything that is anti-religious. Matter of fact, they're very much for freedom of religion and that everybody should have the right to express themselves. But the Republicans, they don't want the liberals to express themselves. They only want the conservatives and the Pentecostal people to express themselves. So, and to express themselves in tongues, basically, you know. So, yeah, and that hasn't helped the environment. These demonic tongue talking. How did that help the environment? It didn't. It just made people more afraid, more fearful of their Christian God. And they had to do more bending down for it and more hideous things that made no sense at all. And I'm angry, and that's why I'm a little passive aggressive, because I want people to understand what I'm trying to say with this. I want people to look at themselves. I want them to look at the institution that is putting them in total fear. I want them to understand and break out of it. Last night, I was looking around on YouTube, and I was delighted to see that a whole lot more people are breaking out of this terrible loop of fear-mongering religions. And this is fantastic. I see a lot of Christians breaking out of their religion. I wish deeply, deeply, deeply that the Muslims will also break out of their religion. And I think a lot of them, a lot of the very young Muslims, the ones under 20, when they're going on their computer and they have the window to the world, they will see what people are talking about. They will see the logistics behind it, the reasoning that are people doing now, and they will go, what am I doing to myself? How can I possibly support this horrendously cruel religion that I am doing? I need to break out of this. And I really wish, and it is very difficult in the Middle East, those people will be killed if they break out of that religion officially, or if they are caught breaking out of it in any form. It could be just one wrong word and they'll be stoned to death. So, but that is still no excuse, and particularly in that situation, there is no excuse to say, oh, I better hold the other cheek or I will be stoned to death. So when something has taken a morbid form like this, then it is absolutely emergency for the people to break out of it as soon as possible and find a way to get out of that area. First of all, they need to move away from there, away from that danger. And I know there is an organization underground that helps women to get out, because the women are the first victims. And the children, of course, in the Middle East are incredibly, horrifically at risk with all of this, and they're being traumatized into this religion. They're like beaten into this religion. That is the worst of all Middle Eastern religions. But all the Middle Eastern religions are very, very violent. They have their violent roots. They had animal sacrifices. Christianity broke out of the sacrifices at some point with Apostle Paul, which was a major improvement. And since then, then we had the Dark Ages, where the witches were also stoned to death and burned to death, and they did very similar things that they are doing in the Middle East today. But it's dangerous, because in South America the Christians there are retracting back into the Middle Age state. So this is very dangerous, and any of these very violent religions with this violent belief, belief in a violent God, this, like I talked before in my other video about it, when they think that their God is as violent as their violent stepfather or violent father, they will beat them if they backtalk or if they question them. The story of Ham in the Bible is the perfect example. Derek Jensen talks about it in his book when he was exposing the history of all that enslavement within the United States. He talks about this one passage in the Bible where the son of Ham sees his father drunk and naked on his bed, and just incidentally saw him like this, and he didn't say anything. He walks away, but his father saw that he saw him, and then somehow the son was cursed and by his father for having seen him. Instead, the father taking responsibility for his life and straightening himself out and being a role model and a good example for his children, he will blame the child for having seen him in that state, even though it's not even the son's fault that he saw him. It's the father's fault that he saw him like that. But this is such a absolute terrific example. It's just the epitome example of what is happening in families' lives today. So, and particularly in those families where the parents are dysfunctional or not educated or have this extreme fear of their own God. So this extreme fear of their own God perpetuates this cycle of fear. It just perpetuates it further and further and further, and if we don't break out of this, it will grind itself further and further into more and more violence and more hardship and more horror and more war. This is not where we want to go. It's kind of like it's the same as an illness. If you don't tend to the illness, if you don't do something, if you don't take away the cause of the illness and do what makes you well, it's what Dr. Scholz always says, then it will get worse and worse, inflamed and infected and raging in a system until the system is dead. And we don't want this to happen. This is already happening to the United States right now, to the U.S. economy, and it's all connected to all these subjects. It's connected to the religiousness. When kids are taught creationism in school, things will escalate further and further into also into the economy, because in Europe it is mandatory. Even the private schools are under the thumb of the government in that way. They have to obey by that governmental law that kids have to be taught evolution and science, because that is factual, and kids have the right to be taught facts and not fiction, and not fearing a God that just dwindles their society further and further into a ruin. We need to get out of this. So that's where the roots are in the dwindling economy. The people in the United States cannot catch up anymore with the people in Europe. Therefore, the European economy is going up. The euro is higher now than the dollar. It used to be reversed under the Clinton administration, because the United States is a very large territory and has much more production. So, but now it's reversed. That tells us something. That tells us there is something badly wrong. Okay, the way things are handled. And teaching creationism in school is one major example in this. And this incredible bias by the media against recognizing global warming that is caused by cars and exhausts and factories that are not working green and clean. Okay. So all this denial is ruining not only the environment but also the economy, and everybody, including Rush Limbaugh, is going to suffer the consequences in the end. They will all suffer the consequences, because pollution does not stop at a border. Pollution will go across the border into the other countries. It will even go across the Pacific Ocean, across the Atlantic Ocean, and it's all interconnected, and it will affect so many details. I could never finish talking about these details if I was to list those. It's endless, the things that it will affect negatively. The US economy crisis has also affected the economy in the whole on the whole planet, because it is such a strong economic influential area, this area here, because it has so many links and ties to the whole world, and so many people's lives are dependent on this. And by people I mean all beings, I mean all Earthians. I should say Earthians. I should remember to say Earthians always. It's very critical, because we are dependent on all other Earthians. The plants too, they are Earthians too, you know. Those were the first Earthians that lived here on planet Earth. And so it is absolutely critical that people wake up and start to ask questions about all of this. It's so critical. And that is my mission of love. I want everybody to become a missionary of love and do the same what I do. And I see more and more people now doing it, and I'm extremely grateful to all of you guys. Fantastic people. There's a girl named Lee, I think is her name. Awesome girl, intelligent. And she broke out from a Pentecostal background, which was very difficult, and she talks about it and encourages other people to do the same and to ask questions and free yourself. Free yourselves, people, from the shackles of these fear-mongering religions. Take care.